Rain hammers down over a man who is already bleeding out, while a strange promise curls around his last moments. Rain and blood give him no explanation, only the certainty that his life is ending before the story tells us why. He does not know what fate wants from him yet, he only knows someone has come to finish him. The voice in the air speaks like fate itself, but the man on the ground is too close to death to understand what bargain is being offered. A white-haired swordswoman stands over him with her blade drawn, calm enough to make the killing feel personal. Her face stays steady, and that steadiness makes the killing colder, less like panic and more like a decision she has already accepted. The dying man hears a confession crueler than hatred. She calls him beautiful because he can never belong to her. The words sound almost romantic, but the meaning is cruel. Affection has twisted into the exact reason she can kill him. He coughs through the rain and reaches for an answer, but the woman gives him only silence and steel. He tries to form one last accusation through the blood, but the rain swallows most of it before it can become a real answer. The blade lowers, and one name remains behind in the rain: Deculein. Then the rain cuts to a monitor, where Woojin watches the Deculein test finally clear the crash point. That death was one of the routes Woojin has been testing, a failure state he keeps rerunning until Deculein finally survives.
That is it for today. Overtime is done.
Woojin says it like a man trying to escape the office, not like someone who knows his own life is about to cross into the program. His name is Kim Woojin, a game developer at REW and one of the people responsible for a massive fantasy project. The company has built a world full of roots, races, classes, and famous characters, and the community is already watching every delay. Every piece of that game is built to branch, which means one character can be saved, ruined, loved, or killed depending on the path. The game sells freedom as its strongest feature, letting players live as knights, mages, explorers, nobles, hunters, and more. That variety is what makes the project attractive, but it also means a badly designed villain can break the whole experience if his roots keep collapsing. Among all those roles, one villain keeps pulling Woojin back into work. Deculein von Grahen-Euclein is not a hero. He is a noble professor, a dangerous mage, and a man written to be hated. The title alone makes Deculein feel untouchable, but the man behind it is written with too many flaws for that status to protect him forever. Woojin designed Deculein as a brilliant but cold character, the kind of villain who can dominate a room and still make enemies everywhere. He has the image of a grand antagonist, but not the clean durability of a final boss. That mismatch is why Woojin keeps testing him. The test finally runs, but the relief does not last, because Woojin still has to prove Deculein can survive inside the story.
How is the testing going?
Era asks the question casually, but the timing makes it feel personal, because she knows exactly how often Woojin hides inside extra work. The woman checking on him is Ara, his team lead. She is close enough to check on him without ceremony, yet distant enough that neither of them can pretend nothing changed. She is also his ex-girlfriend, which makes every ordinary office question land a little heavier than it should. Era is everything Woojin is not: disciplined, ambitious, and impossible to keep up with when work needs doing. Woojin remembers her discipline almost with envy because Ara could turn effort into progress while he kept drifting back into the same habits. Her drive once made him better, but it also proved how little he could actually change. That difference did not make her cruel. It made the breakup feel inevitable, as if she kept reaching for a version of him he never became. Their relationship ended quietly, and now the distance between them feels cleaner than any argument. When a coworker points out the man waiting for Ara, Woojin understands that her life has already moved on. Ara does not explain herself or ask permission. She simply points him toward the life waiting beyond the office.
Go to him.
The line is gentle, but it closes the distance between them more firmly than an argument would have.
Good luck, Woojin.
Woojin answers with one word because anything longer would sound like asking her to stay.
Goodbye.
Alone again, he chooses the familiar problem over the personal one because a broken character is easier to face than a finished relationship. Deculein is still waiting on the screen, and the broken villain is easier for Woojin to face than the relationship he just let go. On paper, Deculein has everything a villain needs to survive: wealth, bloodline, education, and the authority of a professor. His title gives him wealth, status, magical training, and enough prestige to stand above ordinary people. But underneath the reputation, most of Deculein's stats are ordinary, and his arrogance makes him even easier to destroy. The real flaw is not only his stats. Deculein has offended too many people for a normal life to remain possible. Woojin knows Deculein is not built like a simple boss monster. He is a man with every possible reason to be hated. Every hostile route is another reminder that prestige can attract hatred faster than it prevents it. Enemies surround him from every side, and the more routes Woojin tests, the clearer the pattern becomes.
He should have at least a little more empathy than me.
It is a small wish from a man who knows he lacks empathy himself, which makes the upgrade feel more honest than noble. So Woojin gives Deculein one new attribute: not strength or luck, but comprehension. Comprehension is not a flashy attack. It is the ability to understand what stands in front of him before that ignorance becomes fatal. The change goes in cleanly, and for a second the test looks finished. Then a note on his desk tells him to look outside. The note changes the room from workplace to warning, and Woojin follows it because there is no ordinary reason for it to be there. A strange sky has opened above the city, like the game world is pressing through reality. The sky outside is too large and strange to dismiss as weather. It looks like the boundary between his game and reality has started to split.
What is that?
The answer tears through the night before he can understand it. The impact does not give him time to prepare. Reality breaks first, and understanding comes only after the fall. A monstrous presence drops into his world, and the office no longer feels separate from the fantasy he helped build. Its identity can wait. What matters now is that the fantasy world has reached the office and dragged Woojin into it.
Where am I?
He wakes on a cold floor under a body that is not his, shaking between pain, memory, and disbelief. Pain makes the body feel real, and that reality is worse than a dream because dreams do not come with blood, servants, and memories. Images of death flood through him, as if this new life has already shown him the endings waiting nearby. The flashes are not organized enough to guide him. They only teach him that death has already been rehearsed around this name. One fact cuts through the confusion. Deculein is a villain. An unfamiliar young woman demands Deculein wake up before he can understand the room around him. She does not give him time to collapse. To her, sleeping through responsibility looks like another familiar failure. The stranger stands over him, and even then the new world still feels too impossible to accept. Her presence makes the impossible harder to deny, because she reacts to him like a person with history, not a dream figure. Yet the room, the body, and the voice calling him Deculein do not vanish when he opens his eyes. The room belongs to Deculein. The body obeys Deculein's instincts, and everyone around him expects Deculein's answers.
I am in the world of the game I made.
The thought finally names the trap. Woojin has not entered the world as a player, he has entered it as the villain everyone already knows. Worse, he has become the one character who cannot escape death no matter which route the story takes. A normal reincarnation would at least give him room to grow from nothing. Deculein begins with status, enemies, and a reputation already carved into stone. The name waiting for him is no longer a file on his screen, it is his body, his status, and his sentence, Deculein. At first, the world tests him through small details: the room, the servants, the papers, and the way everyone expects Deculein to answer. Every servant and document becomes evidence that the world has been running long before Woojin arrived inside it. His face, his name, and his position are all confirmed, leaving Woojin no room to pretend this is only a dream. He has to gather facts quickly because one wrong answer could expose that the person inside Deculein is no longer the same man. Deculein von Greyan-Uklein is officially the youngest head professor of the Imperial University Magic Tower. That title sounds powerful, but Woojin remembers the roots behind it, and almost every root turns Deculein into a corpse. Woojin remembers that Deculein dies in route after route because the world does not forgive his arrogance just because he is important. Among the countless ways to play, Deculein has only survived once, which means knowledge alone will not save him. One surviving route out of countless possibilities is not hope. It is proof that the margin for error is almost non-existent. Her name is Uriel, and she has clearly spent too long cleaning up the responsibilities Deculein left behind.
Consider it luck.
That short line tells Woojin she thinks he should be grateful to still have chances left. Uriel has no patience for him, and the papers make it clear she has been cleaning up after his neglect. The scattered papers are not just paperwork, they are a record of responsibilities Deculein ignored while others kept the house functioning. She is also angry about another woman, another embarrassment, and another problem Deculein left for everyone else to handle. Her eyes tell Woojin that Deculein did not merely have enemies outside the house, he created them at home. This is the first family lesson of the new life. Deculein can be obeyed and resented at the same time.
She said, Professor, the lecture is today.
The lecture gives Woojin a deadline, and deadlines are familiar enough to become the first thing he can actually move toward.
I should go.
The lecture is not optional. It is the first public test of whether Woojin can perform as Deculein without exposing himself. Comprehension may help him understand magic, but it cannot teach him every social rule, every grudge, or every name fast enough. Comprehension has become part of him, but another pressure is already pushing against Woojin's mind. The body itself keeps correcting him toward Deculein's habits, as if the role is trying to perform even while Woojin panics inside it. His posture straightens almost by itself, shaped by the noble pride Deculein carried for years. Even the world rewards behavior that fits Deculein's class, dignity, elegance, and the cold manners of a superior noble. The arrogance is not simply a mood, it is a pressure built into Deculein's identity, pushing Woojin toward the villain posture.
It is as if this arrogance belongs to the body itself.
If he rejects the mask too openly, people will notice. If he wears it too well, he may become the same doomed man. He hates the arrogance, but he also understands the advantage. If everyone expects Deculein to be untouchable, he must use that mask. By the time he walks out, the costume of the villain already moves more naturally than Woojin wants to admit. The memory of Aura hurts because she was right about the old Woojin, and now that weakness has followed him into a world where laziness can kill. Her old criticism echoes with the accuracy only someone close to him could have. He cannot argue with the memory, so he carries it like another accusation while Deculein's body keeps moving.
That is me.
A nervous young assistant waits in the car, and Woojin has to hide the fact that he does not even know the man's name. The assistant's fear tells him more than the documents do. Deculein's normal behavior made even basic kindness suspicious. The assistant hands over lecture documents with desperate politeness, clearly used to fearing every reaction Deculein might have. That means every small choice can reshape how people around him react, or make them wonder what has changed. Woojin chooses the safest response he can find, because cruelty would only create another enemy before he even reaches class.
Good work.
The assistant flinches at the compliment, revealing how rarely Deculein treated basic decency as normal. That tiny compliment changes the atmosphere in the car, proving Deculein still has room to alter how people react to him. Imperial University is more than a school. It is the stage where Deculein's authority has to look effortless. The car brings him to the Imperial University, the workplace where Deculein's reputation is strongest and most dangerous. Inside Roteiko Hall, students gather for the first lecture, expecting the famous professor they have heard so much about. Admiration is dangerous in its own way because people who admire Deculein will notice if the famous professor suddenly sounds unprepared. Whispers follow him before he even reaches the front, mixing admiration, gossip, and fear. His first words have to be simple, formal, and confident enough to keep the room from sensing the stranger behind them.
Now I will begin my lecture.
Most students see the polished professor they wanted to admire, but one girl in the room sees only the man who ruined her family. Her hatred is immediate because Deculein touched her life long before Woojin ever arrived inside him.
The enemy of my father.
For Ephorine, Deculein's name is attached to her father's death, her fallen status, and the life she was forced to rebuild. To Ephorine Luna, Deculein is not a respected scholar. He is the target of years of grief.
Deculein, you are going to answer for what you did.
Her vow is not theatrical to her. It is the only way she can make her grief feel useful. Her hatred shatters the clean image he carries into the room, and the first lecture becomes a survival test from both sides. The funeral memory gives her hatred weight because her revenge begins with a real loss instead of simple jealousy. 3 years earlier, Ephorine's father died by suicide, and her grief hardened around a single explanation. She believes Deculein stole the research her father dedicated his life to, then stood where her father should have stood. That belief turns every calm word from Deculein into another insult, because calm looks like shamelessness when she thinks he stole everything. To her, the elegant professor at the front of the hall is the same detestable person who crushed her family name. The pledge keeps her focused for years, long enough to bring her into the same room as the man she blames. After making her pledge, Ephorine studied, waited, and carried the anger into the university itself.
Uyatanuzatsis, Kurishats ismort himshapiek.
Her own words make the goal plain. She did not come only to study. She came to prove Deculein stole what belonged to her father. Watching Deculein stand so calmly in front of the students makes the old wound feel fresh again. The lecture hall becomes unbearable because Deculein seems comfortable in the place her father should have occupied.
Worsen the speech feet presitruted than my father's.
Ephorine holds on to that sentence because the place Deculein occupies still feels like something stolen from her family.
I want to expose his lie right now.
She wants exposure before revenge, because proving the lie would make her father's loss mean something.
Silence. I will begin the lecture now.
Deculein silences the room because panic would be fatal. Authority is the only shield he can raise quickly enough. Woojin cannot afford to panic. Every student is watching, and Deculein must sound like the scholar everyone expects. He begins with the attributes of magic, speaking through theory he should not personally understand. The theory is dangerous because he cannot simply fake confidence. Someone like Ephorine is waiting for the first false step. Comprehension fills the gaps as he talks, turning the page of information in front of him into something he can actually explain. Comprehension turns the material from dead text into usable knowledge, which is the first real proof that Woojin's upgrade changed Deculein's life. He explains that a mage's aptitude does not come from a single clean number, but from how attributes, elements, and mana harmonize. The class listens because the explanation is precise, and because Deculein's confidence makes doubt feel dangerous. Every correct sentence raises the cost of challenging him, but it also pushes Ephorine's frustration higher. By the time he reaches the heart of the lecture, the act is no longer only an act. For Woojin, understanding magic while speaking about it is terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. Deculein is not just reading lines. His new mind is truly understanding what the professor is supposed to know.
What I want to say is simple.
He narrows the lecture to one principle the students can remember, steadying the room before anyone can challenge him again. A mage needs balance more than raw force because excessive power without harmony only breaks the spell apart. If Deculein cannot truly understand the spell, then Ephorine's challenge can still tear his authority open. He even judges the original Deculein honestly, brilliant in reputation, but not blessed with overwhelming natural talent. The conclusion is cold, clean, and convincing enough that the room has no easy opening to attack him. The lecture should end there, and for a breath it looks like he has escaped the first public test.
That is the end of the lecture.
Even his closing line sounds like Deculein, concise, cold, and certain that the room should accept it. He asks for questions while hoping no one is brave enough to give him one. A student calls out before he can escape, and Ephorine finally steps into the role she came for. Ephorine chooses the exact moment when silence would have saved him, which means the challenge is deliberate.
Are you really from the University Magic Tower?
She removes his title from the safety of reputation and turns it into something he has to justify in front of everyone. The question is not curiosity, it is a blade aimed at his credentials, his lecture, and everything he stole in her eyes. She presses harder, asking why someone with his position would need to rely on a magic tower name at all. Her follow-up keeps the pressure public, making it harder for him to dismiss her without looking afraid. The classroom laughs, and for a second Deculein's authority cracks enough for everyone to smell blood. Laughter is a small thing, but for a professor built on prestige, it is the first crack in the armor. But Deculein does not answer with anger. He answers by forcing her to prove the attack has weight. Ephraim has saved this spell for exactly this attack. If he cannot read it, her father's work can expose him in front of everyone. Green magic floods the lecture hall as Ephraim throws out a spell tied to her father's research. The green spell is not random classroom magic. It carries the weight of the research and resentment behind her challenge.
I request that you interpret this spell.
Everyone waits for hesitation, but comprehension activates as soon as Deculein looks at the formation. Woojin does not solve it through courage. Comprehension moves first, turning the thing meant to trap him into something readable. Ephraim starts to offer a hint, certain the formation should be too specialized for him to read cleanly. Her confidence wavers because the setup was supposed to put him on the back foot, not give him an opening.
There is no need for hints. It is over.
2 words end the challenge, and that makes the humiliation sharper than a long explanation would have. After the lecture, the hall's shock turns into cafeteria gossip, and Ephraim becomes the student who challenged Deculein and lost. By lunch, that public failure follows Ephraim into ordinary student life, where classmates can gossip without knowing what the spell meant to her.
Annoying man.
Her friends do not understand why she risked humiliating herself, because they do not know what the spell meant to her. To her friends, it looks like she picked a fight and lost. To Ephraim, it feels like the world refused to confirm the truth she needed. Ephraim knows the magic should have exposed him. Instead, Deculein understood it faster than she was ready to accept. The spell was supposed to separate the real scholar from the fraud, so Deculein's success attacks the foundation of her revenge. A red-haired classmate keeps pressing her for an answer, but Ephraim is trapped inside the contradiction. If Deculein truly understood the spell, then either her revenge target is stronger than she thought, or something about her proof is incomplete. The setback does not end her revenge. It makes her doubt what kind of evidence will be enough. She returns to the documents on him, searching for the flaw that must exist somewhere. The documents become her next battlefield, because if the spell failed, paper trails and old records may still expose him. The answer is not there yet, but the failure does not kill her resolve.
I need to know the truth behind everything stolen from me.
The thought is not only anger, it is the reason she will keep walking back into Deculein's path.
Just you wait, Deculein.
She speaks his name like a promise, not a complaint.
I'm 40 expose you soon.
Deculein leaves the lecture knowing the challenge could have ruined him if comprehension had not moved on its own. From Deculein's side, the victory is not comforting. It proves how close he came to losing control in front of the entire class. When he studies Ephraim's spell, the attribute activates involuntarily and turns danger into an answer. Comprehension saved him without permission, which means his own survival now depends on abilities he still barely understands. The lesson is immediate. The world will not wait politely while he learns how to survive. Before he can leave campus cleanly, he recognizes another death variable walking straight toward him. Julie brings a different danger than Ephraim. Ephraim attacks the professor, but Julie confronts the man behind a personal promise. Julie von Diafraden, a knight tied to Deculein by engagement, appears with a kind of control that feels more dangerous than rage. Her armor and composure make her feel like a blade still in its sheath, and that restraint is exactly why Deculein recognizes the danger.
How have you been?
When Deculein gives her no real answer, Julie cuts the silence down to the coldest version. Fine, let's say. Julie is not asking whether he was busy, she is testing whether he will run from her again. She blocks the path, and Deculein understands she is not here for a polite greeting. Her physical block turns the conversation into a duel without drawn weapons.
Are you trying to run like before? Again?
Woojin searches Deculein's memories for the answer, but all he finds is the weight of a promise already broken. His memory search gives him fragments, not an apology, and fragments are not enough for the woman standing in front of him. Julie wants sincerity. Deculein's history gives her every reason to expect another evasion. Julie does not need to shout to be dangerous. Her disappointment has already moved past surprise.
It looks like I was wrong to trust you. You may go.
Letting him leave is not mercy, it is the sound of a relationship losing the last reason to argue. Her permission hurts more than a threat because she is not forgiving him. She is deciding he is no longer worth chasing. The silence after she turns away matters because Deculein's survival problem is now emotional, political, and lethal all at once. Woojin remembers the opening death too late. Julie is one of the people whose broken engagement can put a blade in Deculein's path. The opening death route now has a face, and that makes the memory of the rain more useful and more frightening. In the game, she is not just a talented knight, she is a future blade pointed at the man he has become. Julie is dangerous precisely because she is righteous by her own standard, not because she is written as a simple villain. The engagement was never a simple romance. It was tied to family politics, noble expectations, and old attempts to keep scandal quiet. The families tried to manage the engagement like a political object, but Julie's pain proves the arrangement is personal too. Both families tried to bury the damage, but Julie still carries the wound in front of him. Deculein could cling to the engagement and keep one root alive, or release it and gamble on a different danger. Ending the engagement might lower one kind of pressure, but it can also turn a wounded fiancé into a root the game already knows how to punish. When Julie forces the answer, Woojin chooses the option that at least stops the confrontation from exploding right there. Woojin chooses the least explosive answer available because he is still learning which truths are safe to say.
All right, I will do as you say.
You agreed, too.
Julie hears the ease of it, and that ease becomes another wound. Her fist tightens, because even agreement can feel like another insult when trust has already been damaged. The clenched fist shows the scene did not resolve, it only moved the damage somewhere quieter. On the next day, Deculein returns to the university, where magic status works like medicine, politics, and money all braided together. Deculein's rank opens doors, budgets, and records that most mages would never be allowed to touch. Power in this world decides money, status, education, and who gets protected. He is still weighing those roots when his assistant rushes toward him with another pile of work. Alan interrupts the thought before Deculein can fully map the danger, which is exactly how this world keeps pressuring him. Deculein's reflexes move before Woojin's judgment does, and the poor assistant hits the ground. The young man corrects him through panic. His name is Alan, not whatever Deculein almost called him. Alan's panic gives his name and his place in the hierarchy at the same time. He is close enough to serve Deculein and low enough to fear him. Woojin accepts the mistake quickly because a frightened assistant is more useful as an ally than as one more grudge. That choice is practical, but it is also one of the first times Woojin deliberately refuses to repeat Deculein's cruelty. Alan brings scholarship applications for the magic department, and one document catches Deculein's attention before he understands why. The paper carries money, debt, rank, and family history, but the important part is the name attached to it. Money becomes another kind of magic here, because it can open doors, create debt, and decide who stays close to power. Two of Deculein's traits work together. Wealthy magnate and sharp eyesight push him toward profitable truths hidden in the paperwork. Wealthy magnate does not hand him a full answer. It gives him financial instinct, and sharp eyesight gives him the details to aim it. The application belongs to Ephorine Luna. She is not only the student who challenged him, she is a fallen noble, desperate enough for support that money can change her route. Her fallen noble status means she has pride, talent, and need all pressing on the same wound. Alan says her application is already in the stack, but Deculein sees a deeper problem behind the scholarship decision. Alan sees an application. Deculein sees a root variable with a grudge, a price, and a possible lever. If he lets the game flow exactly as written, the broken engagement and Ephorine's grudge can both drag him toward the same kind of ending.
If I let things play out like the game, I will meet the same ending again.
His thought is not paranoia, it is the first honest conclusion of a man who remembers the roots from the design side. The world answers that fear with one brutal truth. Villain's fate is not a flavor text trait. Villain's fate makes every unresolved relationship feel like a loaded mechanism waiting for the right condition. A sword can find his heart. A wand, poison, or a noble dinner can become a death route before he notices the trap. Poison is colder because it can come through manners, meals, and people who smile while waiting for him to drink. Even a bomb can end the professor if he keeps living like the Deculein everyone already hates. The bomb route proves the danger is not limited to private grudges. Public hatred can become mass violence too. So he starts looking for a route the game did not hand him directly: money, influence, and control over who owes him what. Alan leaves with the order, and the quiet office becomes the first place Deculein can think without anyone watching. With Alan gone, Deculein can finally see the pattern. Every person near him is either a possible ally, a possible killer, or both. If he leaves Ephraim hungry and humiliated, she has every reason to come for him. If he supports her, she may owe him first. Ephraim is the clearest example because helping her could soften the root, while neglecting her could sharpen it. The paperwork proves the larger problem. Countless named people in this world already have reasons to resent Deculein. Status will not be enough. Money will not be enough. Acting like the old villain will only lead him back to the grave. He cannot buy forgiveness from every enemy, but he can stop behaving like the man who gave them nothing except reasons to strike. He needs a way out before one of those roots closes around his throat. A way out will require power, information, money, and a different pattern of choices than Deculein made before.
I need to become strong.